Hey, you've made it to the podcast Recovery Captured, hosted by me, Shannon Louise, a certified recovery coach and self-verified addict. Join me on my journey through my recovery from mind-altering substances, eating disorders, depression, and much, much more. During this podcast, you'll hear my personal experience, thoughts, and opinions, as well as my guests' stories through their own recovery. I hope that you're able to take something away from this podcast and use it as a tool to help you see that your story is picture perfect. What are we doing?
I don't know. Are we recording?
Yeah, what did I just say? Self-care.
Self-care.
It's just helpful for when I start editing. I'm like, what fucking episode are we on? Self-care.
Self-care.
Does this sound good?
Care of the self. Yeah, it sounds good.
Ew.
What? You said ew and then you ate it.
I had a little child underneath my finger.
Oh, Sour Patch Kid. Oh, that's definitely something you gotta give context for.
We have a whole bag.
A whole bag. We have just an array of food on the table, and I'm just loving it.
This is a pound of little kids with sugar on them. Sour Patch Kids.
I know. I can't find a size that is in between the little pouch that you can get at checkout and like just a medium sized bag. So it's either that or a family size bag. And I just know people like Sour Patch Kids. So they'll get eaten.
It even has a zipper on it.
Of course. I mean, they know.
All right. It's time.
It's time. Reach into the magic bag.
Put your hand in my bag, child.
Oh, shit. What is this?
Tell us.
Volcano putty. Collect all 6. And it is in the shape of the container it is. Looks like a volcano. It says it's Krakatoa, Indonesia.
That's what I used to call my crack I smoked.
Krakatoa. I'm gonna rip this bitch open. Maybe.
Yeah.
Yeah, there we go. It's already like jiggling in the container. I can feel it. Where did you get this?
Big Lots.
You know what? I've never been to Big Lots. Never.
Really?
Really? Is
Jillian,
it like,
you live right down the road.
I know. Is it like the Christmas tree shop?
Yeah.
Oh, then I can't go in there. That's so dangerous. I buy everything.
Yeah, but you should still go in.
Yeah, I should. Oh, it stinks. Well, okay. Well, let's have Shannon smell it and tell us what she thinks it smells like. I'm gonna guess first. This is going to remind Shannon of her mom's motel pool. Let's see.
If it smells anything like cigarette butts, then it's very accurate.
Let's see.
No, it just reminds me of the putty I used to play with as a child.
Oh, that's no fun. I thought she was going to whip something out like...
Hold on.
It smells like the bathroom of...
No, but see, there is... Something's coming with it, but I can't think of it right now. It reminds me of my childhood, though. That's fucking for sure. Okay, I wish it came out the top. What is this volcano shit?
I don't know what the issue is.
I want to be able to squeeze it.
Oh,
through
like
the top,
through the. Oh, I see.
like a volcano.
Okay, that makes sense.
Listen.
Oh, oh, I don't like that.
Oh, I do. You want to know what it reminds me of?
No.
A silly putty in a volcanic top.
Oh, yes.
You know what that is? Burritos.
Burritos.
That was a sneaker. The ones that come out quick. Here.
Oh, what are you gonna play with? Can it like rip in half? I wonder.
Yeah, let's rip it in half. I got other
There you
toys,
go.
but those will save for next time.
Yeah,
It's cold.
It is
It's
cold.
like my seltzer.
The seltzer in the back of the car. Oh, it's a very strange texture. It doesn't stretch at all. Like if you pull it apart, it just breaks in half. Oh, it just stinks.
Just give me a minute. I'll figure out what it smells like.
In the middle of the podcast, Shannon will just stop what she's saying and will come out with something totally random. Like it smells like the trampoline section of Walmart. Like something that just like makes you go, what?
That's a good one, though.
But anyway, today we are going to be chatting about self-care and what that looks like, examples of self-care, etc. So yeah, I mean, when I think of self-care, like my definition of self-care can be relatively pretty literal.
Let me guess.
Oh God, here we go.
Taking a bath. Crocheting in your chair, watching reality TV.
It's like she knows me.
Drinking a Diet Coke.
It's like
a
she knows
beverage.
me. I like the things that I do for self-care are very much like the I feel like quintessential. Like I like to take a bath with shout out to Dr. Teal's. I use either their like Epsom salts or their bubble bath in the tub, and I grab a good book and I just sit in there in like scalding hot water for a while, and that's just like a good place, a happy place for me. When I find a good book, it very much takes me out of reality. Like it has to be a good book though, like I can't just read any book, but like I will get like enamored in the book and just really enjoy my bath. And like I've gotten into face masks recently, like those paper ones that you just kind of like lay on your face and you
never had one.
You look like Michael Myers a little bit. And yeah, I enjoy that. I really like candles. I really like Shannon said, like sitting and crocheting and watching reality television. Like my self-care is very much low-key, stress-free, like take a minute to just relax and do something I genuinely enjoy. What about you?
Well, I do want to just start off and ask, do you also have your McDonald's collectibles in your bath?
Oh my God, no, I parted ways with those. Growing up, I loved like figurines, and usually, so it's like back in the day when you could get some pretty good toys from McDonald's. And so I would collect them and I would play with them all in my bathtub for like hours. And Shannon and I were just talking about like ADD and stuff earlier, and that's how that came up. But I had like a tub filled of toys, and I would just play with them and for hours. And so, no, I don't still have them. They're long gone. Does it? Shannon's smelling the thing. No,
I have it in my head. Something to do with my childhood.
It feels like wet and like it leaves your fingers
but then
kind
it's
of
dry.
Yeah, it's very strange.
Oh, self-care for me. I like to take baths, but I think it's a really gross concept. I have a really hard time. Like, I want to, whatever I am doing, I want to be able to eat a snack. And to eat a snack in the bathtub grosses me out.
I'd be lying if I said I haven't done it.
Oh, I've definitely done it, but I had to stop because it's disgusting.
It just felt wrong.
It did, because, like, eating naked is fine. Like, I don't care about that. But I'm in
a body of water. Is that it?
No. Our bathtub, like, the grout, You know, there's like
Yeah.
I clean the bathtub itself, but the walls, they have like grout, and then there's like the little bit of black mold hanging out.
Are you like
and then there's
rubbing
hair?
Are you rubbing your snack on the ground?
No, but the only place I have to look is right in front of me.
That's true.
So then I'm looking at all this stuff, and then there's that scraggling hair. And if you know me, you know how much I hate hair in and around my general area when eating.
Yeah.
If it's mine, I don't care. Doesn't matter. So I don't know. I get this like weird feeling when I'm in the bath. I really like just hanging out on the couch. I like hanging out with my dogs. Yeah, like my dogs are my best friends, so I like to just hang out with them. Self-care looks like exercise, working out. When I have the ambition, some days I'm just like, I don't want to do that.
No. Yeah.
You know?
Yeah.
Hanging out.
Yeah. No, I get that.
You
I
know,
totally get
like
that, yeah.
just doing things around the house. I am a homebody. So
Yes, me too.
anything in my house that I'm doing is a lot of self-care. So if it means that I am organizing my closet, or if I am sitting on the couch hanging out with the dogs, keep in mind there are snacks everywhere. Or, you know, just even cooking, or, you know, whatever it may be, I feel like there's a variety of self-care. Because when I first thought of self-care, it was always taking a bath with candles. Like, that's the only way that I'm going to take care of myself.
Right.
But in reality, it's so much more than that.
It is. And I love that you mentioned that, because too, like when I just truly, like, yes, like my, you know, the examples I gave in terms of my self-care are definitely things I do, but, you know, other things that are a little less glamorous, I guess you could say, for me look like packing my lunch the night before work and picking out the outfit I'm going to wear. Like, I am not a morning person. And so part of my self-care is truly doing as much as I possibly can the night before to get ready for the next day, because that relieves a sense of urgency and anxiety of, oh shit, I inevitably overslept and now I've got all this stuff to do. Well, guess what? My clothes are laid out for me. My lunch is already packed. I just gotta, you know, deodorant, brush teeth, dog, grab breakfast and go.
Right.
And so like that to me is also self-care, and also just meeting my basic needs of like eating and sleeping. Like, while it may not be glamorous and like, oh wow, this is so much fun, there are things that I absolutely have to do in order to have fun and to set myself up for success. Like, if I'm setting myself up for failure if I'm not getting a good night's sleep and I'm not, you know, eating and drinking, staying hydrated, nourishing my body. Like, those just very basic needs also are self-care, because those were things that I was not concerned about an active addiction, right? If I actually like cooked myself a meal, then that was like a miracle. I mean, never mind like planning ahead and like preparing and cooking food. And yeah, so I mean, that very much is self-care as well. Just, it's not the first thing I think of.
Right. But if you break that down, it's self-care. You know what I mean? Like, you are taking care of oneself.
True.
By feeding yourself, by getting an adequate amount of sleep, you know, and when you plan or prep the night before for the upcoming morning, you're that much more joyed to be up. You know, like, it makes everything that much smoother.
Right.
You're not so anxious. You're not so rushed, which in turn, you're taking care of yourself.
Right.
I also think of that aspect of self-care as adulting.
Yeah.
When I was an adult in active addiction, I never did that.
Right.
You know what I used to cook for meals?
Oh, tell me.
For my significant other and his child?
Oh, let's hear it.
Rice. From a bag.
This is good old minute rice.
Exactly. I would come home from the grocery store because, let's remember, I did not know how to grocery shop when I was in active addiction.
Yeah.
You're just not taught stuff like that.
No. And you also just don't give a shit.
Right. And so I would spend all this money at the grocery store getting like snacks for the kid and rice and a bunch of fruit and vegetables. And my boyfriend goes, well, where's the meat? And at the time I ate meat. Like I wasn't a vegetarian or vegan then. And I was like, oh, I forgot. You know, like I forgot paper goods and the essential meats. But I sure as hell had the rice. I always did bacon. Because I did not take care of myself when I was eating bacon. I would cook it naked and burned myself every time.
Shannon.
Listen, I haven't done it just once. I did it twice. And it was at a hotel in Florida. I was cooking naked and I just never understood how to cook bacon. Like I would cook it on like medium high.
Yeah. Oh.
And it would just like cook way too fast and then it's so I'm naked in the hotel room, like wafting the door open. And then when I was at so these are two different men because obviously
explanation needed.
So the other guy I would with the kid and stuff I had to cook bacon and rice. So I didn't know how to take care of myself. And another fun fact, like I thought I knew how to cook and meal prep. I didn't until a year ago. I didn't know what that looked like. I thought I did, but I didn't until I got into my journey through my eating disorder and that recovery. Until I started that process, I really didn't know how to feed myself. I am 29. And I still didn't know how to properly feed myself.
I'm laughing because you are obviously a year out from that and like you've done so much hard work in terms of your eating disorder and the strides that you've taken. But I can also totally relate. Like just it's crazy. And like it was partially like I just didn't care. I didn't know. I'm trying to think where I was going with that.
It's all right. Like, what else did you learn in sobriety, in recovery? Like, how to take care of yourself?
Oh my gosh, right. Well, I learned that you need to get your car washed in the winter from the salt.
Oh, sorry.
Otherwise, the bottom's going to rust out, and then you're going to drive your parents' Honda Odyssey with 300,000 miles on it, and it's going to break down.
I rarely get my car washed in the winter.
Oh, well, you should start.
I always think it's going to freeze up the undercarriage.
No, you got to get that undercarriage rinsed off because all the salt builds up, and then salt eats cars and causes rust. Which I didn't know. I learned the hard way.
I am still 29 years old and just learned this.
Well, I mean, hey, that's why we learn we learn things all the time.
And I live in an area that it snows majority to all of the year.
I also learned recently that I have a spare tire in my car.
Yes. Yes, you do. Now, the thing is, do you know how to change a tire?
No, and I wish I did.
You didn't try to Google it?
Well, in
the heat of the moment?
Don't you need like a jack and stuff?
It also is in your car.
Stop it. It is not.
Where the tire is where you have a jack.
Nuh-uh.
We will go check.
I feel like you're fucking with me.
I have no fucks in you.
You're one of the few who can say that. Well, shit. No, I just assumed that you needed to have all this shit.
What are you gonna do? Have a backup tire in your car and just look at it?
Well, I just figured.
What are you gonna do? Blow it?
Whoa,
it's on now.
I just thought that I would need someone to come with those supplies to then change the tire, or I would have to purchase those supplies separately.
No, Jillian, you are an independent woman. You can change your own tire.
Oh gosh, the more you know.
I know. I feel like today's the day that we learn something new,
Yeah.
but it's like multiple things.
Right. Right.
I think you also need to like categorize it and also like, you know, in a numeral fashion. Like I first learned how to grocery shop. I was on the phone with my mentor. I'm like, what do I do?
Right.
You know, or like I had to learn how to make a grocery list to therefore go grocery shopping. Didn't know how to do that.
Right. I still don't do that all the time.
I don't either.
And I end up getting all kinds of shit that I
Buying
don't need.
4 bags of chips.
To be fair, it was on sale for 2 for $4. And I'm a fan of both a wavy Lay's and an original Lay's, and so I grabbed one of each. And then I was looking and I was like, I can also fuck with some salt and vinegar. And then there's this new flavor, well, new-ish. It's probably been out for a year, but I don't see it everywhere. Lime Lay's potato chips, and at first it sounds unappetizing, at least to me. But I got them one time and I was like, these are fucking good. And so I just full sent it and got 4 bags.
You got 4 bags. The thing is that they're gonna be eaten.
They are. And you know, like I knew Shannon was coming over the next day and we were gonna have some PB&Js and chips, and chips are a beautiful vegan food that we can both enjoy.
Some of them aren't. So if you get the tortilla chips, the lime flavor.
Because there's sour cream.
Is there?
I'm pretty sure.
In the lime?
Yeah, I think
Sour
so.
cream? I don't know. Dairy, I can't have that.
No. But yeah, what else have I...
So, okay, well, let's change it. What did self-care look like for you in active addiction?
I don't know that I really had any real concept. I probably felt like, and to some extent it was just getting fucked up was like self-care. And of course not in the way that I look at self-care now, but back then it was very much a tool for me to get through the day. And like I felt like I could like get through whatever I needed to do because I knew that I could drink and get fucked up. And so that was kind of my motivation, if you will, to do anything. And no matter how mundane or fearful, like whatever the situation was, if I could drink after the fact, then that was the ultimate motivator. And so in that sense, I think like self-care was getting fucked up because again, I just didn't know how it could be different. Like thinking that it could be different. It wasn't going to be in my mind.
Well, when you say it that way, I feel like you're kind of describing the reward, right? Like you get through your day or something happens and it's like self-care. I'm going to reward myself.
Right.
Where we would, okay, let's relax and watch a movie today, you know, or like I get, you know, an extra pint of Ben and Jerry's or whatever for that reward or whatever. And when we were in active addiction, it actually doesn't really matter. But when you think about it, it's like, oh, something bad happened, we have to drink. Something good happened, let's reward ourselves, we gotta drink. Or nothing and you still drink. But anyways, it's more so of that reward aspect of it for the self-care, at least for me when I was using, you know, like sense. Oh, I did good, let's go get high. You know, and also I feel like my self-care kind of looked, I suppose I didn't know the word self-care in the way that I do now, I guess. Or I didn't even have that in my vocabulary. But when I did, quote unquote, take care of myself, I would get like Walmart like masks.
Yes.
And like glue on nails.
Yes.
And I needed a new outfit, so I would go steal some clothes. Self-care. Hashtag.
Hashtag self-care. Oh God, that's amazing. Yeah. And I think too, like, you know, just in kind of going off of what you were saying made me think about how I wouldn't have considered self-care like, for example, like to me, and I know we kind of joked about this on a different episode, how I vacuum every Friday. Like there is like an element of that being self-care to me, because it puts me like at peace knowing like walking around my apartment after I vacuumed to see like, okay, like the dog hair's gone, my chip crumbs are gone, and like I just feel good about it. And and I just so in active addiction, the things that I consider to be self-care now, for example, the meal prepping and just cleaning my apartment, things like that. Today, like we've joked about this in the past, how I vacuum every Friday. And it's not very exciting or glamorous, but it puts me at peace. Like I'm able to walk around my apartment and clean up all the dog hair and all the crumbs and all that shit, and I just feel better. And I have a routine where I do it every Friday, because if I don't, then vacuuming becomes this really big thing in my brain that I think is going to take me a really long time and is going to be really overwhelming. Vacuuming in particular, I don't know if you can relate to that, but when I do it on a routine every Friday after work, it just doesn't become this big thing. And then I feel better about myself because I feel better about my apartment being clean. And it reminds me of to build self-esteem, do esteemable acts type thing. And I can accomplish that by taking the 10-15 minutes to vacuum my small apartment, once a week. And so, but that was a little bit of a tangent. What I was really getting to is that I wouldn't have considered meal prepping and outfit picking out and things in that category as self-care and active addiction. I would be very much thinking about very specific face masks and mani-pedi and massage, or anything like that. And like, yeah, that's all fabulous. That's stuff I do now. But that was boring to me in active addiction, because I just craved chaos and drama and just madness, really. And so anything that would take away time for me to engage in the chaos and drama of my addiction, I just didn't want to do, because then it just takes away from the time that I can get fucked up. So I don't want to have a night with the girls and do masks and watch a movie or whatever, because I could be getting fucked up, and like I'd much prefer to do that. And so yeah, my definition of self-care in addiction was different, and it wasn't appealing to me in the way that it is now.
Well, going back to the aspect of, cleaning on Friday, you're vacuuming on Friday, and how that kind of sets you at peace. It's like that saying that I hear with a messy bed, messy head type of deal.
Yes. Yeah.
I love that. It's such a representation for me to understand that I'm not in a good headspace when my guest bedroom is my entire closet, because it's not even a bedroom, but so it's like our camera room, podcast room, makeup room, my closet, right? So if that room is out of order, or there's just stuff not in their place, it like heightens me up.
Yes.
I'm just a little more, and then when I get to that point, sometimes it's hard. It's not hard to recognize that it's messy. It's hard to push myself to clean it back up.
I get that.
Yep. But I love the fact that you have designated days to do housework, because that's such a mundane, tedious task that no one likes to do, and if you split it up throughout the days of your week, Friday's vacuuming day, Saturday's bathroom, Sunday's dusting, or whatever it may be, I think it would help make the whole process that much easier, not so overwhelming.
Right.
Because when I clean, I'm very anal and have to be in control of everything. I have to do it all in one shoot. And every time I try to do all my laundry in one day, guess who's not a serial killer? Me, because I don't do that, right? Like it takes 3 days to do laundry, but to clean my house, I have to do it within like a Saturday between 1 and 3.
I totally get
and I
that.
can't. I get overwhelmed, and then I just don't do it. So
Right.
then I wait. So I am more so saying I would like to pick up that habit. I feel like that would put me at ease, and in turn, I'm taking care of myself.
Right. I have a couple things in response to that you just made me think of. The first being that what started my vacuuming once a week was that, and this is embarrassing to admit, but I'm going to put it out there.
Yes.
I have a dog who we mentioned sporadically, and you might hear in the background, Boyd. And he, I mean, you look at this dog and he sheds, right? Like he takes a step and like he loses like half his body weight in hair. And I've had him, I moved into this apartment in the summer of 2017, and I got him in the winter of 17. And it's been less than a year. I never, ever vacuumed my bedroom. Never. And I have a carpeted bedroom, and because it overwhelmed me, because I was thinking about how I have all this furniture I'm going to have to move, and I'm going to have to empty the bag, and my vacuum doesn't work, and this and that, and I was just really overwhelmed, and so I just kept not doing it. I would vacuum. I mean, the way my apartment's set up is I got my kitchen / living room just kind of was one stretch, and so I would do the hardwood floor and take care of that, and I'd take care of the bathroom, but I wouldn't touch my bedroom until one day I just had enough. And Shannon, the amount of hair, it was horrible. It was absolutely horrible, but I just had enough. Like most things in my life, I get to a point where I just can't take it anymore. Yeah. And I went behind his crate and under my bed and just moved things around it in my closet. And I mean, the amount of hair was obscene. And I realized that I couldn't let that happen again. Right. And because I had waited years to do it, like years, that's so gross and so embarrassing, but I know someone out there is going to be like, me too. So that's the beauty of of sharing this kind of shit. I just realized if I just make an effort to do this on a weekly basis, then it's never going to get this bad again. And I don't have to do the entire bedroom and every nook and cranny every week. I will need to do that every once in a while, but it will never be this bad if I just keep up with it. And so that was what started that change in mind and my ability to just pick a day. And for a while it was on the weekend, but then I started kind of dreading like, oh, well, when am I going to vacuum? Like as if it's going to take that long. I feel like I act like it's going to take me hours and it's going to be this really painful task. And it's not. I mean, I don't have a large apartment. It's done in a few seconds, especially when I do it once a week. And so then that was when I picked Friday afternoon after work. And I've stuck with that. And that's just been really helpful. But I mean, that's why that started. It wasn't that one day, I decided that I was going to pick a day to vacuum without any real motivation. No, I had the fur bomb in my bedroom that I finally attended to and decided I just don't want to live like this anymore. And my second thought too was when you were talking about how you feel like you need to get everything done, and when you start like, okay, I gotta go from top down and do it all, right? I really struggled with that. And what I've found too, and going back to what we talked about earlier about lowering expectations, this has been and it's definitely been a practice. It's not something that I've done once and been like, okay, that felt great, and now I'm gonna do this every time. But I set a really low goal for myself, like super low. So let's say I've got a lot of cleaning that I'd like to get done over the course of a weekend. I will set the goal of, okay, it's Saturday. Today I'm going to clean the bathroom sink and the toilet, like super low. And then when I do that, a lot of times when I start doing something, I feel motivated to continue. Once I've set that threshold down way low, then that pressure to get all this shit done is gone because, oh my gosh, I've met my expectation. Anything extra I do is like extra credit. And it like feels different and it feels better. And then it feels like, look at how much I got accomplished when this is all I set out to do. This was my only goal, right? And sometimes it's easier than others, but really just shifting that perspective of lowering the expectation way down instead of I'm going to clean my entire apartment. I'm going to pick a room and then I'm going to pick a few things in the room, right? And then inevitably, a lot of times I end up doing more than that. But even if I didn't, I still met my goal. I did what I intended to do, and then I'm able to take that pressure off myself. But that's taken a lot of practice. Like I said, it's
You haven't mastered it yet.
No, God, no. It's not like I did that one time and was like, I feel great, and I don't feel like I didn't do enough, because I just have the way I talk to myself in my head is that, I'm just not doing enough, and I'm not good enough, etc. But with practice, I found that to be a really useful tool.
Yeah, for me, let's just backtrack a little bit.
Yeah.
And let's get back onto this vacuum deal. So
Yes.
Dane and I got an apartment almost 2 years ago, and it's an older apartment. I don't know. I did this, the windows and the screens and like inside, they're not fresh new windows, if you know what I mean. So it's like, I got to clean that out. And I don't want to do that until I can vacuum. We didn't have a vacuum that had a hose, so I asked for one for Christmas, but I got a Roomba instead.
Oh.
Freaking awesome,
Yeah.
right?
Yeah.
I have 2 dogs. Okay? You think that Boyd sheds? Through and through. I could have 7 other dogs by now. It's bad. And I had to keep emptying out within, I'm not even exaggerating, 5 minutes. I had to empty this little guy. And then he had to charge, and I had to do it. This is just for the bedroom. And my bedroom is like the size of your bathroom, okay? Tiny. And I finally told my parents, I was like, I need a legit vacuum. So I got this like dog grade vacuum off of Amazon. It has a hose. It has a little vacuum for the couch.
Yeah.
Hose, whatever I need is on that. And I specifically didn't want a bag.
Yeah.
Don't want to deal with bags. Don't want to purchase them.
Nope.
I just want to bump it and go, right? The amount of hair that I found in this compartment was unbelievable. I do one sweep through, I have to empty it. It's disgusting. And my carpet actually looks brand new after. Like, that's how much hair. It's disgusting. So I do get gratification out of vacuuming, but to get to that point is a lot.
Yes.
But once you do get to that point, your like ego is fed. You just feel a lot better when you accomplish these things. And to come back to that with these little goals that you set to get to those bigger goals, that is exactly what I do. I started with the women at the sober house that I used to manage, and now I do it with my coachees. I'm a recovery coach, and I have a bunch of coachees, and that's the last thing we talk about are 3 goals, right? 3 doable goals that they have to try to complete within the week until we meet again, right? And I like to do it for myself too. I like to write lists and stuff and write stuff down. I don't do it as well as I preach it. So to give an example, some people need to get back their license or whatever, right? That's a big order. To get back your license, there's a few steps you need to take. So we backtrack to see where we need to start. I need to call the DMV and set up an appointment. Or if they have charges or whatever, I need to call, or tickets or whatever, I got to pay off those tickets. You know, that like we figure out the first step, that's what we put down. And so we have 3 goals, very practical. And the third goal is always a self-care goal. You know, as we're talking about self-care can be such a broad spectrum. So yeah, getting your license can be, you know, a self-care. But I'm like, I want them to think outside the box and actually like, what are we going to do this week to like honor yourself? And I always like to do that for myself too. You know,
I
like
love that.
I'm going to tackle editing a podcast this week, or I'm going to, you know, clean my car out or whatever. And then what am I going to do for myself?
Yeah. Oh, I love that. I like that a lot. I haven't thought of that before, but I'm definitely going to use that. Like making it an actual goal, like a thing to do, as opposed to, I think sometimes I think of self-care as when I have time for it, or when everything else is done, I'll get to self-care, as opposed to actually prioritizing it, which I don't think is always intentional necessarily, but it ends up not on the top of my priority list.
I have to complete things to be able to, reward myself, to treat myself, to pamper myself, and that's not, I'm like taking that people-pleasing aspect and using it in that way. Like, I'm pleasing my house first before me. You know what I mean? Or like tackling tasks. But when we switch it around and understand that, okay, when I vacuum or do all these things, I am caring for myself, because then I'm not getting overwhelmed.
Right.
I feel like it's definitely a mind shift that needs to occur.
Yeah. Yeah, very much so. Yeah, no, you had just me thinking about that concept of rewarding myself with self-care after I get things done, as in, like you said, a reward that is only to be had or enjoyed after I feel like I've accomplished enough. And where did that come from, and where did that start? And I mean, a lot of times the why questions that I have in my recovery just aren't really that important, but it's interesting food for thought in terms of when did that start, and why. But I mean, really, a lot of recovery has been rewiring my brain and undoing things that I learned at one point in my life.
Absolutely.
And self-care and when it's appropriate being one of them.
Well, when the reward aspect, I feel like it comes in handy when necessary, not when it comes to taking care of ourselves.
Right.
But for me, like when I use that, or when you speak of that, I used that when I was in college. I hate studying. I hate doing homework. I hate doing anything in and around school, unfortunately, but it's a thing. I would put like a piece of paper in between each chapter I had to read or whatever at a milestone that I felt was appropriate. I would take a few minutes to hang out on my phone. Or I had cookies or whatever, and I'd give myself a cookie or whatever. Like getting to these little milestones so I can finish the whole project.
Right.
That, reward system helped me study.
Right.
Right? But rewarding myself for doing something to help myself just doesn't make sense, but yet I still do it.
Yeah, I see what you're saying. Totally. There is a time and a place for the reward method of self-care, because it's definitely a motivator, and it helps to, I think it adds to the feeling of accomplishment. There is a level of accomplishment I feel when I get something done, but then to be able to go and do something afterward, it makes it all the more enjoyable because of the time and effort that I've put in to get to the point where I can go do it. But also, right, like it all comes back to balance, right?
Oh my God, Jillian, I'm a broken wagon wheel. See me going down the road like, ka-dunk, ka-dunk, ka-dunk. It's so true. The balance in my life, I actually don't have balance in my life. 8 years sober and I still have no fucking clue how to balance.
I know. Well, I wish I could tell you that I knew the secret to it, but I don't. It's this elusive thing that I'm always striving for, because I am an end of the spectrum gal. I ride on one side or the other. And I mean, I'm getting closer to the middle, but I definitely gravitate towards one end or the other, as opposed to in the middle where there's the most, balance. But just where I'm most really at peace, when things go smoothly and I'm not on either end of an extreme.
How did you figure out like what you enjoyed for self-care?
That's a great question. I think there was a fair amount of trial and error. In my experience with sobriety and recovery has been, when I was in active addiction, I thought I was very extroverted and I acted that way. basically forced myself in some ways to be extroverted because I thought that's what gave me energy and revitalized me, like being around people and things like that. And so there was definitely a period of discomfort in being alone and by myself when I had gotten sober because, well, and basically what I'm getting at is a lot of my self-care looks like spending time alone. But that to me now is a good thing because I don't isolate. It's not an isolating alone. It's this is my time to be away from other people and social engagements, and recharge really because I just need to be away from other people to do that. But anyway, there was this kind of growth period of when I had gotten sober. Shannon's smelling her love again. We haven't quite gotten to where she can identify what it smells like.
Well, it just reminds me of hanging out in my living room as a kid.
That's reasonable. I can
my living room didn't smell like this, but it reminds me of my living room.
I get that. It's better than you saying the game Clue.
I think it's just the Clue that threw you off.
It's just, there's just everything about it threw me off. But I mean, anyway, what I'm trying to get at is Shannon's like shoving it up her nostrils. Oh my god, my mind is now.
So you were talking about being an extrovert,
right? And so
forcing yourself, and then you realized you were an introvert.
Right. And then, I mean, as time got on and I accepted that was the case and that I'm not this people person that I thought I was able to actually enjoy, like, spending time by myself and doing things by myself that I like to do. Like, I picked up crocheting again in sobriety and, like, found that I really enjoyed doing that. And I picked up reading for fun again, like, these things that I hadn't done in a really long time that are not these chaotic, dramatic activities. And I needed to give myself permission almost in a sense to enjoy them, if that makes sense, because it wasn't in line with who I thought I was. But really who I thought I was this made up person with these made up interests and whatnot. And so it really went hand in hand with me recognizing and accepting that I'm very introverted and that's okay. That's more than okay. And that it's really draining for me to be around people all the time and whatnot. So, I mean, that's really how I have come to find these different activities.
If you were to ask me that question, that's what I would have said.
Yeah.
I thought I was an extrovert as well. I actually didn't know that word, but I thought I enjoyed being around people, and I really don't.
Yeah.
I thought, like, I felt guilty. That's what I felt when I hung out by myself. I thought I had to be busy. I thought I had to be with other people to be enjoying my time. Does that make sense?
It does.
So for me to just sit back and relax and do nothing on my Sunday, I felt really guilty, and I felt like I needed to be up and moving. And that's not the case now.
Right.
Best believe I will cancel my plans to hang out with my fucking dog
Yes.
before I go out and go to a party.
Yes.
100%.
Totally.
I would rather be with my dogs doing nothing, and that's what I enjoy. Right. And it might look a lot different. People like to go on hikes. People like to go camping. People like to, like, whatever. Like, that's the way that people do self-care for them. But for me, going home and being quiet, because all day, my job, I don't know why any of my jobs I have are my job, because I'm an activities director. Then I'm helping people through, motivational listening. And then I'm doing a podcast. Like, those are three things that are against an introvert.
Right.
Right.
Like,
I am going all day. I'm fucking exhausted. So if I want to go home and sit on the couch and literally zone out, that's the best time.
Right.
And I had to figure that out with time, that, oh wait, this is relaxing. This is what the definition of relaxing is for me.
Right. I would get stuck with figuring out, am I relaxing or am I depressed?
Or am I lazy?
Yes. Right? Like, this feels good, but is it okay for it to feel good? Or should I be doing something? Because I do the same thing where I feel like I need to be doing something and I need to be productive and I need to, the worth of my day is based solely on how much I got done or what I did. And I intuitively know that now. Sometimes I still feel that way, and I look back on a day and I will think, oh, I only did whatever. But I'm much better now at not basing my whether I had a good day or not on what I did.
What you accomplished.
Right. But yeah, I definitely struggled with, in therapy, my therapist refers to it as a mood state. Like, am I in a depressive mood state versus am I truly just recharging and taking time to do nothing, which is what I need to do. And so it's taken some time and practice to recognize the difference between those two things as well.
For me, a lot of it, I feel like, was recent that I have felt comfortable doing nothing and not getting stuff done on certain days, right? Like, I could have my dishes full in the sink and, hairballs all over the place. And I'm going to sit out on the couch and I'm going to let Dane know, I didn't feel like cleaning today.
Yeah.
And for him to say, that's okay.
Yeah.
Like, oh my gosh. Right. What a fucking breath of fresh air. Yeah. Like, thank you for, one, understanding that this is what I'm going to do, and two, for not giving me shit, because I'm already giving myself shit for sitting here.
Oh my gosh, right?
Yeah. And for him to be like, oh, are you okay? I'm like, yeah, I'm just recharging or whatever. Right. Or if I'm not and I'm in a depressive episode, he's right there to do the dishes. So it doesn't cause any more, more of a burden for me. Right. So just to have someone say, like, it's okay.
Right.
You don't need to do anything today.
Right.
Like, you deserve to relax.
Yeah, that external validation.
Absolutely.
For sure.
Well, in wrapping up, do we have anything else we need to say to our listeners? I feel like you touched on a really good spot of how to figure out how to learn self-care.
Yeah, I feel like we really got all the different angles of self-care because, like I said, from the top of the episode, when I think of self-care, I still think very literally of, the candles, massage, bath, like whatever. But it really is so much more than that. And being able to identify self-care in other areas of my life that I never would have recognized, never mind have done before, right, but never would have even thought to do. Yeah, I feel like we came at it from all sides.
You know what I would like to know?
Yeah.
I would like to know what our listeners do for self-care.
What an excellent question.
I would like to know.
I would too.
So if you want to leave a comment, you want to email me, you can do whatever you want. Follow on Instagram, Recovery Captured.
A little DM.
Guess what my email is? recoverycaptured@gmail. Or you can go on any of our podcasts, Recovery Captured, and you can leave a comment and let us know what you do for self-care, because I would love to pick up some new tricks.
Yeah, me too. I love hearing what other people do, because then it creates food for thought in myself of maybe I should try that. Or I love hearing what other people do too. So please don't be selfish and keep it to yourself. Tell us.
All right, guys, thanks for listening.
Bye.